Hello and welcome to my new junk journal. We're going to do a quick little junk journal with me session today. And I'm going to be using this beautiful embroidered piece that I had cut out of a piece of linen that I had gotten from the Goodwill sometime last year. And I wanted to add it to a fabric tag that I'm going to be making for this for the back of the cover. And yeah, so that's what I'll be working on now. And I just want to let you know that at the end of the video, if you're interested, I will I added some more things to my March journal, quite a few things actually off camera. And so if you want to see those, just stay till the end, because there's like 6 minutes or so at the end where I'm showing those as well. Okay, so what am I doing here? I am using a neon color pencil. This is a random colored pencil that I had found in some shop at one point, and I just happened to try it out on fabric because I didn't have anything else, and it's perfect. It's really, really good to use on fabric. So I'm using it for this, and I think this fabric, I'm pretty sure this fabric is an upholstery fabric, meaning it is very thick and luscious, and I love it a lot. And it had pretty much a similar color to the linen where the embroidery was on, so that was perfect. So I'm just cutting out a rectangle twice, the same size. So I'm gonna double that up just to make it a little thicker, and I'm gonna sew this embroidery piece on it and then sew all around the tag with my sewing machine. And I'm using white thread for this, so you can't really see it. So here I've sewn it, and while I was sewing I realized, well, actually it would be really fun to make a pocket out of it. So I just left the top part open and thought, well, let me find a tag or something that I could put inside. So here I have my beautiful little tin with my recent fussy cutouts from some vintage books. And these fussy cuts that you see that I'm holding here are actually from a British wildflower book that I got from Amazon, and I got it used from Amazon. So that was really cool. I think it was like £4 if I remember correctly, something like that. And if they still have it, I will link it below. It's a very, very good idea to look for used books on Amazon because they're cheap and you can really find great things there as well. I haven't looked in a while now, but I was so happy with this find because it has so many beautiful images. And these images that you see right here are from a different plant book that I just found here at Goodwill, so I cannot link that. But I believe these ones again are from that same wildflower book. So I'm just going through my options here and trying to stick to the colors that I thought would work well with that embroidery, and it's kind of like a pinkish red. So now I'm eliminating the ones that I don't think are ideal. And I'm loving that one on the right, mostly because, first of all, the shape is nice, but also because it doesn't only have the flower name, and it's in English, so that's nice. It doesn't only have the flower name, but it also has a description below that. So I really love that. And that is the reason why I decided to go with that in the end. So I'm leaving it as is. I am just inking the edges. And then I wanted to back it with something because I didn't want the other side of the book page to be shown. So I thought I would take one of the original book pages of the book because the color of the paper is the same as the color of the end page of the book. So I thought that would work very nicely, but I didn't want to cut it, so I decided to tear around it to make like a very small border around the tag. And I wanted it to have like this fuzzy fuzzy torn edge, which was a bit of a challenge for these smaller parts. But it kind of all worked out in the end. And so of course I'm inking that one up as well. And as I'm doing that, I realized that I didn't even think about whether there was anything on the back side, and I realized that part of the title was on the back. So I didn't know which way I should turn that, to either have a blank page at the back where I could journal or to have part of the title showing. And then I thought, actually it's kind of cool to have that title there on the back. So I decided to leave that showing. And so I just sewed around that off camera, and now it's very sweet in that pocket. But I realized now that this pocket is too far up, because my original idea was that I wanted to glue it up on top so I could flip it up, but now that wasn't going to work with the tag inside. So I thought, okay, instead of doing that, why don't I make a little pocket out of one of the beautiful printable doilies from Johanna Clough. So I fussy cut that out, and I had printed those on some cardstock, so I didn't need to back it with anything. So I'm just cutting that out. That is quite tedious if you want to do it like that, but I think it's worth it in the end because they're just beautiful. And I was thinking about how that would look, and it would have been okay actually, but somehow I wasn't feeling it. So instead I decided to take that little pocket off again. So I'm just undoing the stitching. And what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna take it to my sewing machine again and sew it on farther on the bottom, like there, because then that would work really well. So taking it to my sewing machine again, and here I'm back. It's like magic. And since I'm using white thread, you can't see what I've done, so that's perfect. And now I really like how that looks, and I have the space on top, which I wanted initially, and I'm just using my tacky glue to just glue that onto the back of the cover. If you have a textile glue, of course you would be using that instead, but since I don't, this is fine, and it holds up really well. Okay, so if you want to see what else I did in my March journal, please stay tuned. Thank you. So honestly, I thought I was finished with this March journal, but I went back into journal because I had some spots where I wanted to do some journaling, and while I was doing that, I did want to add some more things on the pages that I hadn't really touched before. So now I think every page has something on it, which is very cool. But look at this. I mean, I know bulky is good, right? But this is ridiculous. Like, my issue with it is, how do you put it into a bookcase? Because, yeah, I don't know. So, yeah. Anyway, so let me quickly show you what I added. So in this front pocket, I just added 2 more bits of ephemera because that tag was looking very lonely. So I added this beautiful stamp of a dragonfly that I got from Raisa, and this Happy Mail thing was in a, yeah, it was in a Happy Mail as well. Then yeah, I added these 2 images because these 2 pages were blank. I mean, they weren't blank, they had something on it, but I didn't put anything in it, so I put these 2. These are both from Happy Mails as well. Here for my brother's wedding, I had forgotten, I had collected some of the rose petals that were decoration on the tables, so I stole some of those and dried them, and now I just glued a bunch here in the corner with some tacky glue, and I really like that. I don't know if they'll hold up, but yeah. Yeah, here I just did some journaling. here I just added this word. I don't know how to pronounce it correctly. Petrichor. I don't know, it's a noun. I don't even know what language. The earthy smell that follows a rainfall. Isn't that nice? And this is as is. Here, this is also one of Raisa's beautiful stamps on a very, very vintage book page. Really love that. This one had this butterfly and I added this one. I went to a local shop here yesterday with Raisa. It's called Papillonia, and unfortunately they are closing, so they had a minus 30% on everything. So I got this wonderful Tim Holtz die with embossing folder, which was still very expensive, but I had to have it. And yeah, so that is this, and I wanted to add it here, and I like that actually. Then what? Oh yeah, here. This here was empty, so I put on this doily printable pocket from Johanna Clough, and I added this journaling card. Just put the create more on it. I think yeah, this is maybe from a Daphne's Diary magazine. I'm not sure. And I just added this picture, which is from a vintage floral book. Then here, which was the wedding invitation for July, where I made the thank you cards. I just documented with photos the outcome of the wedding cards. So this was the box, and inside this was these were the cards and how I packed them. So I wanted to keep that, and here I just journal about that project. I really love having those in here. Here, this is, I'm not sure, this is from some magazine. I'm not sure if it's Daphne's Diary or not. Dreams don't work unless you do, so that's very nice. Here, I really like this. So I had this vintage postcard in here, and I added this, which is two separate pieces, because this, I think, kind of looks like these flowers. So again, it's like the old and the new. I really love that. Here I didn't do anything. Oh yeah, here I just put this sticker, this vellum sticker from an old postcard, which was also in a Happy Mail. I'll love how that just fit there. That was empty. Then, what else do we have? Oh yeah, here I added these two photos. This was the centerfold where I hadn't put anything. So this is, of course, Frida Kahlo. And I had gotten her on my visit in January with my hubby to Istanbul. So that's a very nice memory. And I love this postcard so much. But it's very thick, so it adds a lot of bulk, sure. And this was in a Happy Mail from Annette. And it's Louis Charles, who is Marie Antoinette's second son. So I love how this double spread turned out now. This was a leftover from a book page from Annette. I like it. What else do we have? I don't think we have much more. Oh, here I just put this in. My lovely friend Farine, she lent me some of her stamps that she had gotten new, and I don't think she'd even used them yet herself. So I had those a few days, and I stamped a lot of things. So this was just some sewing pattern that I stamped and then just wrote that it's from her. And she's really cute, I think. And I think that might be it. This was here, yeah, that was here. Yeah, here I just put the Discover Yourself thing, and I just journaled here, and that's it. So now it is really, really complete and really, really bulky. So thanks for watching. Bye.